Welcome back to Historic Tahlequah. Senator Wilson and I are now upstairs in the library of the Thompson House at 300 South College, and we want to talk about some of the artwork that has been donated to the house by the grandchildren of Dr. Joseph M. Thompson. He was a really fine artist. And Jim, tell us some of the things that you think about that.
We were fortunate several years ago to have some of his relatives contact us. They all live in California now, in Northern California, I believe.
Yes.
And at one time he had a granddaughter and a great-granddaughter that came to see us. And Beth and I were fortunate enough to look through some of their archives that they brought with them. And we were fortunate enough just last year for a grandson to come visit, and he had some actual artwork that Dr. Thompson had done.
Right.
And we have some of that right now in the library up here.
And we're going to look at some of that, Jim. I am particularly taken with the little baby girl, his granddaughter, who lived in this house for a little bit with her parents and with her grandparents, Dr. Thompson and his wife,
yes.
Miss Lula. And I think it's delightful. It's a little baby playing in a tub of water in the summertime. But then there are other pieces of artwork too. An Art Deco one, and one that would be of interest here is the sequoia.
Yes, very nice print that he did.
And then of course he did a painting of his, not a painting, a drawing of his father, Johnson Thompson. And we also have pictures of Dr. Thompson and his wife. Dr. Thompson is in his World War I military uniform, because even though he was old, he enlisted in the medical corps during World War I to assist with the World War I American war effort. And his wife is certainly beautiful. Then we have, did I mention the bows?
No.
All right. We have 4 of the bows. Dr. Thompson was an excellent archer, and these bows were done by Cherokee craftsmen, were made by Cherokee craftsmen before 1900, and he used them in his artwork. So all of those, as you said, were wonderful things. And is there anything you'd care to say about our visit with the grandson?
Oh, I think it was wonderful. He brought to our attention everything that he knew, and of course we told him a lot of things he didn't know. Right. One of the interesting things about Dr. Thompson is that I don't think he cared as much about being a doctor as he did about many other things.
Exactly.
He had a lot of varied interests, and they show in some of the keepsakes we have. And so I think that's really pretty neat that he's had these varied interests and did a lot of things besides being a doctor.
Exactly. And you know, when we first started working on this house, you probably remember that there were older people in the community who were babies he had delivered back in the early part of his practice, and they doted on Dr. Thompson, and we do have a list of some of those people. And it's interesting that some of the old funeral records and burial records in Tahlequah list him when he had cared for someone in their last illness. So he did have many interests, and he did meet the people on more than a professional level.
Yes, he was certainly a citizen. And yes, it's different than it is nowadays, I think. He did a lot of things in the community that besides just being a doctor.
Exactly. And he and his wife had 2 daughters and a son, and the son for a time had an office in the Cherokee Capitol, which was then the courthouse, in that period when it had been transferred to the county as the Cherokee County Courthouse. And that son was quite a character, according to the family. I didn't hear that in the community, but the family said, oh my, he was really a character. So the family did participate in the community also. And I certainly wouldn't leave out his wife, Miss Lula. She was Lula Elliott. She was a weaver, if you recall. And she wove carpeting, so the old-timers tell us, for practically everybody in the community, because doctors back then didn't make a lot of money. They they cared for people whether they had money or not. And of course, he was practicing in the late years of the Depression. And then even before that, when in an agrarian, a farm community, people aren't flush with money, so they paid with hams or apples or whatever they had.
It would really surprise people to realize that we had universal health care back then.
That's right. The doctors went out.
That's right. He went out and he'd see people in his home, and this was his home. And but everybody had health care. He didn't discriminate because of money or anything.
That's exactly right. And I'm sure people knocked at the door at night for him to either see them or for him to go out in town or in the country to take care for them. He never had his office in this house. It was downtown over Brown's drugstore, but he didn't just keep office hours.
Right, right.
And Mrs. Thompson didn't just see to rugs when she felt like it. That was a way of helping with the expenses of the family. And also, you know, W.W. Hastings, the Cherokee attorney who was our congressman from this district for many years, was a boarder in this house at one time. I think that's very interesting. Well, don't go away. We'll be right back.